Okay, it is time for another AMA or an Ask Me Anything post. I kind of like doing these. This is going to be like everything. I think the past AMA that I did was like game related, and I specifically said that in the community post. But for this one, it was just pretty much anything. So yeah, thank you guys for all your questions. We got 35 total comments, which is just great. And honestly, I've kind of looked at these a little bit just as they came in with the YouTube Studio. I would like look at the questions, but I really don't have anything scripted or anything really thought out for probably half of these. So we're going to go through it. We'll see how long this takes. You guys clearly already can see how long this video is. I have no idea right now, but we'll try to keep it somewhat contained. I'm imagining probably an hour, but we'll see. I shouldn't have even said that. But so let's just get straight into this bad boy. We do not have a monster review. This is water. I usually just drink one energy drink for the day. Usually, actually today I technically had my monster and then I had a Coke Zero. So the rest of the day must be water at this point, you know, so I can like sleep normally. But let's just get into this bad boy. And I will also be chopping these magics because, oh my God, what the hell am I chopping? My client is, yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, so let's just start with the top one. So I did say, you know, time for another AMA. This one can be about anything. Miko says or asks, how did the date go? So for those that don't follow me on Twitter, I posted it on Twitter. It actually got a shit ton of likes, which is kind of crazy. But I did say that I was going on a date for, not today. I know it looks like I'm going on a date. I'm pretty much on a date right now with all of you guys. Type 1 if this is like a personal date for you for the week. No, but I went on a date with a girl that actually was from my high school. I went to 2 different high schools, and she was at my latter high school that I went to. So, yeah, and I never knew her in high school at all. We shared a class together, but I never talked to her. Anyway, so we met on a dating app, and then, you know, I was just talking. Things went really well over text. Like, we just really like hit it off pretty well. I knew we were like definitely like different people, obviously, and I'm not like a normal person that, you know, it's like I don't have like a normal like job and, you know, just do a bunch of like fun, adventurous activities like the, you know, the typical guy that's like hopefully they're imagining on these dating apps. So anyway, I'm going too much in depth already. But basically, I invited her. I was like, hey, do you want to go to a movie? We saw Civil War. We went to like a little joint to eat and then saw the movie and just talked. She came over for a little bit and we talked and stuff. And it was just good overall, like a really pleasant experience. This is something like it was completely out of my like realm for so long. The last time I went on a date was like 6 years prior, basically, and it was, you know, just a date for fun. I was not looking for anything romantic at that point, and I don't even know really what I'm looking for at this point. I feel like I want something romantic or something like long term potentially, but ultimately I just need like experiences. So this is just really great. It was fun. We were able to talk openly, and I feel like without going into too much detail, our lives just are different. We see things differently. You know, we even briefly, I know you're not supposed to talk about this shit, but I'm not the one that brought it up in the first place. So we did talk about like kids and stuff, and like she didn't want kids. And like I kind of want kids, sort of. And so like just, you know, just different things that were brought up. And so by the end of the date, without even acknowledging it specifically, we just basically were like, yeah, this isn't going to work out, but it was a good time basically. So that's how the date went. And it was also like a little boost of confidence for me, like just getting myself out there again. It just felt good, and I felt normal kind of for once, like just doing like a normal fucking like adult thing that I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm turning 29 in June, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like it's just time does not stop, and I got to get some shit, you know, going. So yeah, it was good. All right. Salt Citizen, why does it feel like Jagex makes changes or reverts their ideas based on a player like Adicon and Gnome when they are not good representation of the majority of players? So it definitely can feel like that. I mean, this is sort of hard because ultimately what's going to come into the game are the loudest, most dominating voices that are heard. Now, obviously, a dominating voice can also be 100 people that, you know, just get, I mean, they're looking at the majority of responses, but they're also looking at like key figures that kind of sort of can manipulate, not manipulate, but like kind of control a narrative, I guess. Like, I guess the way I'm trying to describe this is like content creators, people like the average player that watches content creators and stuff, they kind of start falling into these sort of like ideas that the content creators have because, you know, like they play the game a lot, they understand things probably more than the average player. And so they listen to a content creator, probably see some of their comments if they're a YouTuber, or just see their Twitch stream. And, you know, because JMods are in and out of streams and they watch YouTube just like we do. And I don't know, like I don't feel like there's an overly like dominating presence of like elite players. And I don't feel like that is the overall representation, to be honest. I think they do strike a good balance, but you have to also remember on Jagex's end, like they want to really appease as many players as possible, and appeasing their top creators is a good thing overall in a way. Like I know this sounds sort of like backwards, like why would you like, but I'm not saying they only focus on them. I'm just saying like to like please the people that are doing good for your game. Like creating content for their game is a really important like key aspect. So like they want to keep their creators. They want to make their creators happy because they're generating more revenue for their game. And so there's just different like elements to it. I don't know if I've answered this properly, but you can let me know. I think that's I didn't even read this, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna just say on that, just to not make things go too long. But again, not unscripted. I didn't really know how to feel about that. That was just like right in the moment right there. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What would your thoughts be on attaching the Dragon Warhammer to the Elder Maul for the new best in slot defense lowering weapon? Dragon Warhammer is going to be obsolete for main, so why not go down the Torva Bandos route and use the components from the Warhammer so it holds its value? It would appear much like the double-handed Warhammer from the NPCs carrying at the entrance to Nightmare. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I am not really opposed to any sort of ideas like that. I remain pretty indifferent to anything like this, but it's really like if the community wants it. This is like a suggestion that can make sense, but it ultimately depends. Like, does the community care for it to have this sort of attachment? Attachmentscape is kind of like a weird one for some players. Like, it makes sense in some scenarios, but do we really want like everything to be attachmentscape? And Dragon Warhammer is a lot easier to obtain, to be quite honest, than getting an Elder Maul. So it's, I don't say this purely because like I'm an Iron Man or whatever, but like if you look at the game at an Iron Man's perspective, like getting a Warhammer, you can get fucking easily. Like you can get at a pretty early point in the game. Going for an Elder Maul is ridiculous. So you have to remember, like we have to look at the game sort of in a different light, where it's not just what prices are, or I've been maxed and I have unlimited money to spend on all the best in slot gear, so what the fuck is the point of a Dragon Warhammer now, man? Like, what the hell? You got to think of like progression. Like a Dragon Warhammer is a pretty obtainable item in an early game stage, and it has immense power. But then what's cool is if you keep your journey going, you pull an Elder Maul. I just got basically a better Warhammer, and that's fucking sick. That, you know, that's a kind of like a cool feeling of like I just got like the Warhammer 2.0, and I don't think it necessarily needs an attachment. I don't think it's like, oh my god, I pulled an Elder Maul somehow early, but I got to get my Warhammer. That's you know, in those rare cases, you know, if somebody pulled an Elder Maul early, sometimes that can be like an annoying thing for like attachmentscape. Anyway, that's kind of my answer. I'm indifferent. Let me know if you guys would want to even see something like that. If OSRS disappeared tomorrow, what do you think you would try to pursue next? This is kind of like an interesting question, because obviously I have to suspend disbelief like briefly, because what are any of the creators going to be doing? Like we're probably all just going to jump on to like some other game or some private server, or I wouldn't even imagine another game. I think it would just be like an offshoot of OSRS or something, you know, like something would happen, and it wouldn't be so immediate. So again, the suspension of disbelief is really just like, it wouldn't just happen tomorrow. It would just make no sense. But I sometimes think about my own like career choice of like playing this game and talking about it and making content and stuff. And like, I've experienced burnout, and I've experienced like not just in game, but just burnout in general, and just like kind of reevaluating things in my life. Like, what do I prioritize now that my frontal lobe has developed and I have different priorities now? So honestly, I would definitely still do something in the content creation sphere. I think like I also have to remember, like, I have imposter syndrome a lot of the time, where I'm like, dude, anybody can fucking do this. Like, there's literally nothing special about me. I'm just talking about the game, or I'm just playing the game. Like, why does anyone watch it? Anybody could be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm literally so replaceable. And there is some truth to that, to be quite honest, like, you know. But ultimately, when I look back at like old content, when I look back at my old rambles, I'm like, Jesus, like, I was so monotone. I was still figuring out my YouTube voice. I was still figuring out how to be comfortable on camera. And I went through little phases. Like, if you guys have been watching me for a while, like, I started off like really addicted to the game, really just focused on like high level shit and really taking the game like really seriously. And then I went through like a patch where I wasn't really enjoying it, but I kind of had to like pretend like I was enjoying myself a little bit more. And I was trying to like test out different sort of like, this sounds weird, and this is not like consciously what I'm thinking, but in hindsight, this is kind of how I'm seeing it, like painting the whole picture. Is I had like a season where I was like almost testing my YouTube voice. Like, would I be more interesting if I was like louder or more like aggressive or something? Like, what captures like an audience's attention more? And I don't know, just kind of focusing more on the content creation side. And there's like some really cringe rambles that like this one as well. Like, I'm gonna this is already cringe. No. But there were like some seriously cringe rambles that I like have considered. I did consider like just like, oh my God, I can't even listen to this. This is just so painful. I don't know how anybody's listening to this. And I would take like criticism really hard. So if anybody was like, Jesus, dude, like calm down, or, you know, like any sort of negativity, I was already in a negative headspace with my content in general, and hearing it from somebody else like reaffirmed it. I'm like, oh my God, like this is bad. Anyway, so all in all, I would like to still do content creation, because, and the reason I brought up all that is because content creation and being in front of the internet, in front of people, is sort of like a skill in a way. Like, it takes years to really figure out who you are, what you're doing. And I still haven't fully like sunk into who I would like to be as a creator online. It's just like live and learn pretty much. And it's not something you can just be given like day one of content creating. It's something you just have to like practice and fail and just like experiment with things. So I wouldn't want to just throw that all away. And I think there are so many other things I'm passionate about. Not so many other things. To be honest, I'm kind of like a boring person. But there are things I'm passionate about besides RuneScape at this point. And it would be kind of fun to just test the waters with those passions in the content creation sphere, whether it's like long form, kind of just talking, podcasting, just actually, you know, I mean, I don't think I would be as interested in really getting good at editing videos, but it would be cool to maybe hire an editor and have ideas come to life through that. You know, I've thought of things that I would like to make, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like, it's a lot of money, or it's like, just, I don't know if this is going to work out. But it would definitely be that. And then another kind of pursuit, just to kind of wrap this question up, is like, I would kind of want to go back to school. Like, I've thought about that for the last like probably 2 years. And school has never really, like, school always kind of stresses me. The idea of school stresses me out. But I am way different than I was when I dropped out of school. Like, I would actually care to learn at this point. I'm not in the same headspace as I was when I had just turned 23 and was just like, I'm done with this. Like, I can't do this anymore, and just kind of lost. I still feel like that kind of little bit of like loss. Like, I'm not exactly sure what I would do at school, but there are some definite passions I'd have that would like be cool to kind of pursue through like an education. So not fully sure on that, but it definitely is always in like the back of my mind to just maybe go back to school for a couple years. Give us monster tier list ASAP. So thank you, Wiggy, for that question or that demand. And yeah, I actually have really been enjoying kind of like the drink reviews. They've been kind of fun doing. Obviously we're gonna run out of monsters at some point, and I don't want to make it like a guaranteed thing, because like it's literally this one. There's probably like 10% of you that are disappointed I just have water in here. But I will definitely make a monster tier list. I need to try all of them. I've tried probably like 80% of all the monsters there are out there. So yeah, we'll make a tier list at some point. It would like, let me also know what you guys would think about this. This is not a guarantee at all. This is I'm spitballing. You guys know when I'm spitballing. Would you guys follow like a secondary channel that I'd make that's non-RuneScape related, and maybe we could do drink reviews or just some sort of thing? Like, I don't fucking know. Just like a fun secondary channel, because I know there are some people that get really annoyed if I post anything non-RuneScape related on this channel. Like, the people get really upset. Like, they don't want it on their feed. They just want their thing to be RuneScape only, and I can respect that. So, you know, would you guys want to see like a secondary channel from me? Because I've never actually made a secondary YouTube channel. What is your precise workout routine? Your physique is honestly goals. That is really kind of you. My workout routine, so I don't really have like a routine. It's really just I work out every day. Like, that's just it. It's like every single day. And I have not stepped into a gym, like a legitimate gym, in 7 years. Like almost 7 years at this point. Like, I literally do not go to a gym. I just work out at home, do home workouts, calisthenics, weights, dip bar, like just things like that. Like, I have some weights, so technically, like in a sense, it's sort of like a gym. But no, I just do basic calisthenic movements, and it's daily. And I have a relatively healthy diet at this point that's balanced, and I eat enough protein every single day to fuel that muscle growth. And also just go outside. Like, I go outside like 6 days a week. Depends if it's really beautiful weather, I'll try to go out every single day. But 6 days a week at minimum. Like, I will make it a priority of mine to just go outside, either for a walk, get my 10K steps in, or go for a bike ride, or go for a run occasionally. I've been trying to get back into running as well. And there is no real precise workout routine. And also a lot of it's just like intuitive. Like, it's just, I don't need to write anything down. It's like, I just want to feel like I got like a pump. I want to feel like I'm pushing myself to failure. I want to feel like I put in some effort on this workout, whatever the movements are. And it's just like, do I want to do 50 push-ups right now? Like, if I want to, I'll go do them, and then I'll feel that motivation. Because what ultimately happens, like, I'll start doing some push-ups, or I'll just start kind of picking up a weight and doing something, and then I will get that kind of warm-up feel, like, okay, like, this feels good. I'm getting a little bit sweaty anyway, so, you know, let's just fucking send this. And then I just kind of get into like a full like 20 to 30 minute workout, and then I'm just drenched in sweat, and I feel great, and I shower, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and it felt good because I wanted to work out in that moment. The other really amazing thing about content creation in general is, like, I have so much free time, and that can be like a detriment in some way, because with like a lack of a schedule, it can be kind of hard to motivate yourself. But with working out, like, I literally just choose the exact moment when I am the most wanting to work out. So whether that's in the morning, whether that's in the afternoon, or just late evenings, like, literally there'll be times there'll be like 11 fucking PM, and I have so much stored up energy that I can feel, and I'll just fucking lift a bunch of weights and stuff and just do, you know, 150 squats just right there. And it just, I like that freedom to just, if I feel like I want to do something right now, I'll go do it. Or if I feel like I have a bunch of stored up energy, I want to go for a run, I can just go for a run. I'm not in like an office job just sitting there having so much stored up energy, but literally I cannot just work out right now because I'm working or something. Like, I have a lot of that freedom. So there is no precise workout routine. It's just do whatever, you know, just work out every day, do something every day, move every day, and eat relatively healthy. And that's all it is. And it's just consistency. Just doing it day after day after day after day. Like, that's just all it is. You just have to find something sustainable. Anyway, I could make a video, honestly. Let me know if you guys would like, because yeah, it'd be kind of fun to maybe make like an IRL video just showing what I eat in a day and what I would normally do in a day to exercise, because I kept that pretty brief, because there is no real precise workout, but when I do work out, there is some sort of a structure I kind of follow. So I'm not going to go into it right here, though. What are you most excited about for RuneFest 2024 besides meeting other creators and all the fans? That's it. I mean, that's literally what I'm excited about. I'm also excited just to go across the ocean, because I've never been to Europe ever, and that just sounds really exciting to just be somewhere else. So, like, I've been to Mexico before, but everything else just United States. So that sounds really fun, and just kind of like examining the culture over there just sounds cool. But yeah, the biggest thing really is meeting all the creators and the fans, of course. So are you guys going to RuneFest, by the way? Let me know down in the comments. That'd be really cool to meet. One question you often ask a cast member that I've wondered what you would choose. If you could make any one change to the game or series of small changes relating to a single larger change, what would they be? And before Gnome Cube. Yeah, Gnome Cube. Gnome Cube is fucking goated, guys. I'm sorry. I'm still like totally on board with the Gnome Cube. The Gnome Cube is just, it just makes too much sense in my head. But if I could make any change to the game, one of the, like, I would probably make some changes to agility in general. And I'm talking like run energy, like that sort of whole thing. But the team's already working on that, so I feel like that's kind of like a cop-out in a way. But yeah, like just the running in this game could feel a lot more reasonable. It feels like you should be able to run a lot further. And again, they're going to make a change like that. Gnome Cube, which for those that don't know, I'm not going to go into super detail, but it's basically like knife log. Like any sort of tick manipulation, you don't have to carry a knife or a log or an herb or a fucking tar and a pestle and mortar. You have an item, you click it, it starts a 3-tick timer, and boom, you're good to go. And so you reduce a click, you reduce wrist strain, and you know, going even further on that Gnome Cube discussion is just making like rhythmic skilling more prominent. Like just really focusing on what's fun about getting yourself into like a trance with this game, and just like a skilling trance where, you know, you want to level up a lot. You have a certain milestone you want to hit and a certain skill. And it's usually with gatherers like mining, fishing, or woodcutting. Like you just want to fall into a sort of like state of trance and just be able to grind for hours on end. And I think the key element to that, in order for you to even get into that headspace, is rhythm with this game. I mean, the whole game is rhythm based. And so a lot of those like tick manipulation methods have all the rhythm, but then they also have the insane downside of being fucking horrible on your wrist, and just too much clicking. Like there's too much clicking going on. There's way too much input that you need to produce, and that can just be toned down dramatically, and you'd still have all the great elements of a skill. Like all the great elements of the rhythm and the flow and the timing and the satisfaction of predictable resource extracting, like just all of that. You don't need just more and more and more and more clicks. Like it's just like that's what turns people off. That's the unfun thing about all this. So in my opinion, so that's why I would like something like that. Do you have any opinions on how to improve interactions between Iron Men and normal accounts in the wilderness? Right now, it's basically prey versus predator, as Iron Men don't have an incentive to fight back. I know it's tough as you've had to create something that also circumvents boosting. Yeah, this was actually who was I talking to about this? Oh man, I literally just like the past like 10 Sebe casts, like a cast this year, we were talking about it. It might have even been like in the past like 6 or so. But shit, somebody's gonna have to find it, like that conversation we had. But basically, there would be a way to allow Iron Men to go into the wilderness with whatever gear they want. But if they die, what drops to the PKer is a GE value of gold of what they would have lost. So one of the annoying things, and I'm going to kind of explain this a little bit more. So one of the annoying things about Iron Men and being out in the wilderness is dying sucks, but ultimately like losing a unique that took you 80 hours to get, or 100 hours, or 200 fucking hours to get. Like losing a unique feels horrible. Even if it's just worth 10 mil. Like if you lost an Elder Maul in the wilderness on your Iron Man, like Jesus Christ, good luck fucking getting that back. Good luck having like farming Cox for 500 hours trying to get that back. So Iron Men are kind of limited with their arsenal, and they're scared to lose basically anything. And then fighting back is a fucking risk sometimes. And it's just, why even bother fighting back? So it would almost be cool for a Iron Man to get all these things once, go out in the wilderness and be in a really nice PK setup, and just like be able to feel like you're not going to lose all your shit, but still have the equal amount of risk. So the way this would be implemented is your Iron Man now has a coffer, which mains can fill. So your Iron Man now has like a trade option. So like, there's like some sort of coffer, however that works. Maybe it's in your POH, maybe it's, you trade them or something, some sort of way to transfer gold to an Iron Man. The Iron Man can never touch it though. It is a separate coffer locked onto that Iron Man account. So any mains, even your Iron Man, like I guess technically Iron Man could do it as well, but no Iron Man is going to want to just give their own GP that they made and fund this stuff. So other accounts, so if you have a main account that you've dropped tons of dupes over, I'm imagining some sort of high level Iron Man that's done a shit ton of TOB. They got 5 bill, just on another account that they never play. That account could deposit 5 bill into this coffer on their Iron Man. And now when that Iron Man goes into the wilderness, they lose none of their supplies or gear. Maybe they lose the supplies, but the gear is retained on their account. But if they die out in the wilderness with that gear, what happens is when they die is the coffer that's locked to their account drops the equivalent amount of GP to the person that killed them. And if the Iron Man kills a player in the wilderness, all of their items get instantly sold on the Grand Exchange. So some sort of system where it just sells to the highest bidder or whatever. It instantly turns into GP and is transferred to that coffer. So that coffer can be refilled more and more and more and more by an Iron Man killing players in the wilderness. But on top of that, it can be refilled through mains. So Iron Men can never touch that coffer. That gold is stuck in this coffer, and it can only be extracted by mains or added upon. So technically, an Iron Man can now be a PKer, PK all the time, and actually make profit, and then that profit can be extracted onto a main account. But Iron Man can also go out there, and if a main kills him, what they were risking instantly is obviously gold, because it's just instantly extracted from their coffer. Does that make any sense? I'm really struggling to make this concise, but the whole idea is literally allowing Irons to feel confident going out in the wilderness, not feeling like they're risking huge, big ticket items that just took them a year to grind. And they have the fun of being able to kill players and instantly get that GE value onto their coffer. And that coffer, again, can never be touched by Iron Man. It can only be exchanged by main accounts. And that would be the whole system. So that, in my personal opinion, would incentivize a lot of Iron Men to start engaging in the wilderness, because you can make really cool builds as an Iron Man. And, you have these really cool builds, and you can actually just go PK out there. And if you, like, for example, if you're a pure Iron Man that has a G-Maul or maybe some low, HP account, and you are going to be risking this G-Maul if you want to go out there, you're never risking that G-Maul anymore, because your coffer would pay for all the deaths. So you can get a really, really rare item and actually use it out in the wilderness and have fun with it. Like for me, like I would love to use my Void Waker out in the wilderness, but I'm going to fucking risk it. Like I'm going to lose it potentially if I go out and start killing players. So just losing a GP equivalent from a main account that I have, or, that would be so much better. So let me know what you guys think about that. That was literally the idea. And in my head, it makes perfect sense. I think it's just the perfect solution to all of this. So let me know. Have you watched Attack on Titan yet, as per Frey's suggestion? I haven't. I've watched like the first few episodes. I think I even told him that. And I just couldn't really get into it. And then I said I would try to start watching it. I'm just really bad at just watching shows in general. I don't know what it is. I just can't really get into them very easily. But I do want to follow up because I did say I would watch it. I said I would really try, at least get through the first season and try on the second to see how it is. But I haven't really been able to get into it. Or haven't really even tried yet because I just know I'm just gonna watch it a little bit, get bored 15 minutes later, and just stop. So I haven't, and I feel bad, honestly. Do you think sailing is worth being an entire skill rather than an ocean expansion? Yeah, I think it is worth being an entire skill, honestly. I think it's just a more exciting approach to the whole idea of it, and just adding an ocean expansion where you can have a boat and stuff just wouldn't feel the same. I think it's better. Not much more reason than that. Just I think personally the feeling of it feels better as a skill. If you could make your own monster flavor, what would it be called and what would it taste like? Ooh. If I could make my own monster flavor. Okay, so one of the things I would really love is they have such thing as a Monster Nitro, which is, I'm pretty sure there's like it's like there's carbonated water and then there's like nitrous fucking oxide in there or some shit. Like, so it's like a smooth flavor, but it's still partly, I think it's like half and half, like carbonated and has like the nitrous oxide going on in it. It's such a unique flavor and texture and everything, and it kind of foams up. I really love that, but I wish it wasn't full sugar. I wish it was a zero version of it that was only like 0 or 10 calories. I would be so obsessed with that. I would drink that shit all the time. That would be amazing. But if it was just like a normal monster, probably like a blue raspberry or potentially like a peach raspberry. Peach raspberry goes so hard. Peach raspberry just, oh my God, that's just amazing. So something like that, like a mixture. I think peach raspberry would be like my go-to, and make it like a nitro, or, oh, if it was a nitro, that would be even better. But if it was just like a zero version of it, that'd be great. What is your favorite boss and why? Don't say Sarachnis, lol. If you could be a dev, and why? Don't say Sarachnis. If you could be a dev, what would be the first things you tried to implement into the game? So favorite boss besides Sarachnis is great. It has a great flow, even with the Ring of Stone tech that came out. But I love Zulrah. Like, I love killing Zulrah in max. It feels really good. It feels smooth. There's so much to it. There's so many elements that, like pillar stalling and timing, everything. And it just feels good once you have it down. The Soul fight, Soul Heredit from Coliseum, is an incredible fight as well. That is so much fucking fun. And I'm trying to think. What else is really, really fun that I enjoy? I love the Olm fight. Solo Olm is just an amazing fight as well. I would say those three: Zulrah, Soul, and Olm. And if I was a dev, what would be the first thing I'd try to implement into the game? First thing, I mean, I think it would be something like a gnome cube. It's just so easy. Just throw it in there. Throw it in there. Just chuck it in there. See how people feel about it. Yeah, probably something like that. Favorite podcast moment? This is so tough because there's been so many fun moments. There is one moment I think of a lot, which is from the It's Will podcast, where I had It's Will on. And I was laughing my ass off. Like, I couldn't breathe in one section. I had, like, the way Will was talking about some stupid thing. I think it was like, he was talking about like mainland China or something, and how he like tells his viewers he's just from China, because whenever he tells them like he lives in Portland, which he was living at the time, people are like, well, you live in Portland? Like, oh my God, like, place is a shithole and stuff. And then he has to go on that whole thing. So he's kind of pretending like he just says something else, or he says China just to, to end the conversation quickly. And then I think we started, something happened. I made a Sabecast spotlight on this, so I kind of remember this a little bit more. But then he was, somebody in the Twitter topics asked about like what's his favorite Pokemon type or something like that. And for some reason, the accumulation of all the funny shit he had already said and all the random shit we were talking about along with that question just made me like crease. I was just creasing and I couldn't breathe. And it was actually kind of embarrassing because Will was just sitting there like, you all right, man? Like, are you okay? And I could not breathe. So that was a really funny moment. There's been some really great moments over the years, but that one just sticks out, I guess. Can we please get Poison Potion on? I would love to have Poison Potion on. He's a great guy. I think that'd be a really fun podcast. I'll have to ask him, though. Is there a conspiracy theory you believe 100%? See, okay, so I'm going to kind of expand on this a little bit. Like, I'm not really interested in conspiracy theories. And I feel like it's a really common thing to just love sort of conspiracy theories and hearing about them because they're interesting and they kind of just, it's like hearing a good story, you know, kind of. And even if it's not true, it's just fun to kind of like go down that rabbit hole of like, ooh, like what if we're wrong though? I feel like my upbringing with Mormonism, so I grew up Mormon. I feel like, I was completely captured by the whole Mormon story. Like I believed it like 100% because, you know, it was just drummed into me as a kid and that was my worldview. And it was really, really, really hard to break free from that. Like it took years for me to like deconstruct my worldview and build it back up again from that. And I still struggle with some elements of that. And a lot of it's just kind of ingrained in me and it probably will be for life. So I feel like deeply diving into some conspiracy theories and becoming enthralled by them is actually kind of a dangerous route to go down because it's like you can actually just start like subconsciously believing things that are actually like verifiably false. And you now have a warped worldview where other things can't make sense with it, or you'll use cognitive dissonance to just ignore legitimate evidence on things that can make real world impacts. And so I feel like following conspiracy theories, I've kind of just decided myself that I'm not going to go into them, even though some are like fun and exciting to kind of just explore. But yeah, I don't know if there's any like conspiracy, like just like mainstream sort of conspiracy theory that I believe in. And I really do try to listen and read like good sources of people that haven't lied in the past without, you know, correcting themselves. As soon as basically if I'm trying to learn something, I really want to learn from like people that are truthful and honest. And like as soon as somebody is showed that they're not a truthful person or they're like a grifter or something else, like I just have lost all trust in them and I won't even listen to anything they say, even if it's like, I just don't want to hear anything from that side because they can mix in falsities like so easily. And so for me personally, I just love like learning real things. And obviously there's multiple sides to certain like things that would be deemed conspiracies. You can't just completely believe one side 100% because sometimes there's bad incentives and stuff to, you know, make up certain things or create a narrative. But ultimately, that's just what we have to deal with in life, is just to try to do our very best at deciphering what is truth or not. And so I feel like purposely putting yourself into a position where you're trying to like engage with conspiracy theories is just like not healthy. So that's just my personal thing. Sorry for going a little bit deeper on that, but I don't know if there is any conspiracy theory I believe 100%. Maybe if you guys list some, I could like, you know, pick some and say, yo, yeah, I kind of like, I think something about this one or whatever. So after talking about nightmare rewards, what do you think Jagex should do about boss completion in terms of hours going forward? I think it's important to have reasonable times relative to the content to obtain the main uniques and have a clear distinction for what is actually a flex item. So to answer that one first, thank you, Basha. I've made slight like stances on this. I don't feel like any item that is like a gear upgrade should ever be more than, I put the number as 250 hours. There should never be an item that takes you longer than 250 hours to obtain. Even at the very end game raid, the mega rares of all mega rares, nothing should ever surpass that. And at this point, I would even go as far to say like 150 hours is honestly already pushing insanity. If you compare this game to any other game, you're going for an item. Like, this isn't like grinding for 99 in a skill or getting maxed or whatever. Like, this is getting a specific item. Like, I don't feel like items should ever be super, super rare. Now, there's a gray line of like where to cross for like if you're an efficient player, how long this item should take. But yeah, I used to say 250 hours should be the cutoff. And at this point, I would even say maybe 150 hours. There's only more and more content that's being added to this game. So at some point, you're like, in order to get the items you want, like if you were to create a new account right now, and a lot of players have just been playing for a decade. And so, you know, they get one more update. They've already completed everything else. They get one more update. Like, oh my God, we need more. We need more content, or these drop rates need to be rarer because, you know, this is the one piece of content I can even do right now that I haven't already touched. But you have to remember the average player and players that are creating a new account like right now. Like, and I know not everyone plays an Iron Man, but I think it is good to kind of design this game with Iron Man mode in mind. Like, if you were to be self-sufficient, things shouldn't be absolutely egregious. So this is obviously like a really sensitive area for a lot of people because they want the game to feel like a grind. And I'm on board with that. The game is a grind. But there are so many items to hunt. Like, there shouldn't be these just out of control items that take, you know, like 400, 500, 600 hours. Like, Nightmare Orbs were actually out of control, especially on release. Like, it literally took like 700 hours to get a Nightmare Orb when I was grinding normal solo nightmares. Like, on rate to get a specific orb, it was over 700 hours for me. That is out of control, stupid. Like, it's just fucking stupid. And there has to be a line. So for anybody that's like, no, you should never draw a line, like there has to be some sort of line. Like, is 20,000 hours too much? Like, what if the rate of an item was 20,000 hours or 80,000 hours? Like, I understand there can be some exceptions to this, like Third Age, something that the community can deem as like, okay, this is not a necessary upgrade as part of an account's, you know, progress. You know, you don't need to get this so it can remain rare. But for most things where you're hunting a normal item that feels like a worthwhile upgrade to your arsenal, it should not be egregious. So like, there has to be some sort of cutoff. And I would honestly say like 150 hours at this point seems reasonable for content going forward. It makes content more fun. Seeing items makes content more fun. It just does. How do you feel about the flex items, like the raids capes that unlock at a certain boss KC? It could be a pet, reskinned items to show off time spent acquiring the main drops. That is where you can have rarer things. Yeah, flex items such as like completely cosmetic items like pets and capes and things like that. Those are where these super long grinds can be had. So if you're a super giga fucking nerd that has played this game a shit ton, you can flex how much you've played by getting all the pets, or, you know, just going for some crazy jars or going for these capes. That is where it should is where like those big ticket, like not big ticket, but like the super, super rare items could come from. But with normal items, like normal weapons and armor you're getting, those should be way, way, way less, way, way, way fewer hours to get. So that could be a place where, again, like Third Age is one of those items, or is one of those, yeah, like the flex items where they can be super rare because there's no real use to them and they've kind of been seen in high regard. And yeah, so again, kind of a complicated issue because ultimately it is just subjective, but content becomes less fun when you're not seeing items often and you're just grinding and you're going hella dry. It's just not fun. Do you think the collection log was a good addition to the game with how it has affected the way people approach content? Ultimately, I do think it actually was a good addition to the game. It would be the same way I'd probably see like a max cape. There are so many downsides to have added a max cape with perks. That's the real thing. It's like with the perks. But it's still fun to use. It's still great to have a max cape. It's still fun to aim for that super busted item, you know, that you get, and it just feels like you accomplished something really good and you're reaping the benefits of it. The collection log, even though there's downsides to it, it's still fun to have. It's still fun to see a number. It's still fun to see your little things you've collected and stuff. So I think overall it's definitely a good thing for the game. There's always going to be downsides to anything though. So any reason you haven't done casts with some of the original guys like Juke? What do you mean? I that was the first cast I've done. What do you mean? Like, have I not done any like duplicate casts with him? Yeah, I haven't asked some people. That's just what it comes down to, pretty much. Port Kazard Part 2 when? I actually did ask Port Kazard to come on again, and we're kind of in some discussions about that, so I'll have to reach out because, yeah, he's a fucking legend, and I had him on super early on before many people knew who he was, and that's always like a great listen, so you guys should check that out. So it was like 3.5 hours we talked, I'm pretty sure, 3 years ago, over 3 years ago. So I'd love to get him back on. Any show you wish you could erase from your memory and watch again? Ooh, okay, there's a few. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, just amazing. Trying to think what other shows have been like really amazing. I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's hard to say because I almost want to say like Game of Thrones. I haven't watched a bunch of television series, but Game of Thrones just pissed me off so hard toward the end, and I don't even know if I'd care anymore just to get disappointed again. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul would be an incredible experience to watch those again from just not knowing what's going on. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. If you start a brand new iron this week, which boss raid log would you wish could be auto completed? Oh, 100% Chambers. It just takes so fucking long. Actually, yeah, probably Chambers, even though Chambers is way more fun in my opinion than Toa. But I would definitely choose Chambers now because now I'm thinking, if I were to do my Toa grind again, I would just do it with friends. That's the way I would do it. I wouldn't ever do solos. What is your likeliness of creating a Discord community in 2024? I actually do have a Discord community. I've actually had my Discord for like 4 or 5 years at this point. I'm very bad when it comes to keeping up with people when I'm not like on stream and stuff. Like I don't know. It's just the way I kind of am. Like I really am good at just unplugging in some senses. And I'm just not really that great at like keeping up with all my audience and, you know, just being there and interacting all the time. I'm really bad at it, but there are some really amazing people in the Discord that keep it somewhat active. And I really appreciate them, and it's always cool. And I'm always kind of in my not always in my Discord, but like I'll check it, I mean, multiple times a week, and I'll just kind of go through and just look at stuff. But I'm not really that good at interacting. So I'll have my Discord actually linked down below if you guys are interested in joining it. It's not like it's super big. Like there's some Discords where I'll be in. There's shit happening. Like, I mean, there's like 700 messages that happened in the last hour from their whole community. It's just crazy. It's just like a huge party in there. That's not my Discord if you guys have those sort of expectations. But I'll have it linked down in the description. It would be kind of fun to like revamp the Discord at some point as well. But again, it's kind of like I'm lazy with it all. What skill do you think is balanced the best, and what skill is balanced worst and needs an overhaul? Ooh, balanced the best. Let me just look at my game real quick. Let's see. Man, it's kind of tough. It's kind of hard to say. I feel like a lot of them have decent balance, so I'll just kind of I'll answer the one that's like the worst. And I probably, I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of a tough one. Maybe because I was gonna say like rune crafting, but rune crafting actually got a nice overhaul, and then I was gonna say like maybe mining, but mining actually doesn't feel that bad either, and I feel like it does kind of have good progression. There's problems with mining. But if you're talking about balance, like XP rates and stuff, I don't know. Maybe just like, I don't fucking know. I really don't know. Hunter? What would you guys say? Jesus Christ. It depends. Like there's different ways to kind of like form that question. But if it's just XP related, like just the balancing in that aspect, I feel like Hunter is kind of annoying in a way because it just feels like you get to Chinchampas and then you just grind Chinchampas, or you just get to bird runs and you just do bird runs the whole way, or you just go to Herbivore and then do Herbivore the whole way. It just feels boring. There's Hunter contracts now, which I haven't even touched yet, so maybe those are nice and kind of refresh it. Where could Jagex improve in their player support in your eyes? But just clearing bots and making it a serious priority. Like banning cheaters, like banning bots, banning bot farms, banning clear cheaters and gold farmers on the high scores of bosses and other things. Like really going out of their way to clean up the game. Like truly going out of their way, having zero tolerance for botting, having zero tolerance for, you know, all of this shit. I mean, it's the same thing. And again, like, it's hard because it's like you're putting in resources and like in their eyes, we haven't made a big enough deal about it for it to even matter to them because we're still all playing the game. And it's like, whatever. But we've become really apathetic, I feel like, as a community toward the whole process of like, we basically just accept that gold farmers and bot farms are in the game. And we're like, whatever. We're just like, whatever. I can't deal with this. Just whatever. If it's happening, I'll just try to focus on myself. And it's just really depressing. So that would be fucking amazing if they just really went out of their way to show that they deeply care about the integrity of this game and deeply care about cheaters getting eliminated from the game and spammers at the GE getting permanently banned. Like, I don't care about the fucking permanently mute. If you're spamming websites, you should be permanently banned instantly. Just no fucking remorse. If you've been spamming websites for the last 6 hours repeatedly, hopping fucking worlds at the Grand Exchange, you should be permanently banned. Like IP, it doesn't even need to be an IP ban. That would be great as well, but there's always VPNs and stuff. But seriously, like they should be paying, those accounts should be, just as soon as you start spamming websites, fucking your account's banned. The membership you bought with the bond, yeah, it's fucking eliminated. You lost that privilege to be here. And there's so much cleanup that could be happening. You go to an LMS world, if they had one fucking JMod or one just pay, they don't even need to pay players. They could just have a community service thing where a person that deeply cares about the garbage that's being spewed at LMS lobbies, they don't even need to pay anybody. Jagex should just give somebody the power, one person, one literal fucking person, unpaid, and they could just say, hey, can you just ban everybody that's spamming the fucking websites of, you know, pink clay, buy an infernal cape, all this shit. Like, can we just fucking you have now the power. We'll oversee you so you're not going like full abuse mode. But can you just clean up this? Just any person that's spamming websites, just permanently ban them. Go to the Grand Exchange. Just start permanently banning every single person that's website spamming. Like, if they were to make a serious cleanup effort like that, that is so fucking cheap, so fucking easy to implement, that would go a long way. Like, it literally would. It would feel like, oh shit, like Jagex actually cares about how their game looks and like they're getting rid of this shit, and it's super fucking easy. Like that's the easiest thing. It's harder, obviously, to know if somebody's botting 100%. It's very clear to me when people are fucking pickpocketing and they have 190 mil thieving XP and they insta hop whenever, you know, they see a player, just insta fucking hop, and the things they do, the way they look, it's all scripted, it's all this bot. That'd be amazing to be able to ban them as well, but ultimately you're not fully guaranteed that they're actually cheating. It's not 100%, but in most scenarios it would be. So if they had some better recovery system as well, that'd be great. But like, Jesus Christ, there's so many little things that could be implemented so fucking easily that would clean up this game, and they just don't care. It seems like, at least that's in the player's eyes, you know, that's what it looks like. What should a person invest some GP in that will make some good GP in a month or so? I don't know. I mean, Elder Malls were a good. Elder Malls are definitely a good investment. Nightmare items, I guess. I feel like nightmare items, like, they might be plummeting now. I don't even know the economy, but I feel like the harmonized orb is going to be really fucking good. I feel like nightmare in general is going to be grinded a lot. And I think the items are going to rise because I think people are going to start finding more value in those items. So maybe investing in like nightmare items could be cool. I don't know. Rather than making hybrid boots, what about hybrid jewelry? Combining rings, for example, instead of boots like they do in other games. Yeah, that's another kind of like if the community wants it sort of thing. BC Guppy brought up that whole like Thanos glove thing where you're like holding like 10 fucking rings on it and stuff. And so now you don't have to do any glove switch or ring switch, which in a way, if we didn't care about like power creep and balancing, it would make the game feel kind of cool to just never have to do glove and ring switches again. So your switches really are just like 8-way maxes, which feels cool. You know, like that would be kind of cool. But then again, do we really deeply care about that? Do we care that, like, is it okay for if you want absolute max DPS, you have to do like a full-on 10-way, 9-way switch? I don't know. It's kind of hard. And the way the game is just designed, the inventory, the way it's designed, it makes it really nice for an 8-way switch. And, you know, is it, I don't know. I remain indifferent to this whole thing. I would love to see what other people have to say about it. But yeah, just combining things, I don't know. It's not the end of the world. We used to have Barrow's gloves and that was just best for everything. And we got along just fine with it. So maybe it would be kind of cool to have that powerful mega rare glove again. It doesn't even need to be a fucking mega rare. I mean, it could be, but I mean, that's probably what it would need to be at this point because we do have PVM sources shitting out these gloves where Barrow's gloves before was literally just a quest item. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. Hi, Zabe. Love your podcast. I always felt you have great etiquette when talking to guests. Thank you. Allowing them to have their say and not interrupting very often. You also keep the flow going. Is this just common courtesy or do you take inspiration from other podcasts? It triggers me when people constantly butt in during certain other interviews and podcasts of his trade is appreciated. On that note, do you listen to many other podcasts? So yeah, no, I'm definitely, podcasting in general is like a skill I've been trying to develop, just getting better at conversing with strangers online. It's hard because I'm not in person with somebody. So when I watch podcasts like Lex Friedman or a Joe Rogan podcast or just any sort of podcast, most of the time, at least on YouTube, people are in person. So it's so much easier to not interrupt. It's so much easier to read the body language and just the conversations go so much smoother. But sometimes I'm talking to somebody across the fucking globe in a Discord audio call. I can't see them. I don't know what's happening. Like I've never talked to them before and we're just talking and I have to make do with what I have. And so I try my very best to keep the conversation going. I feel like I'm pretty natural at that. I really try to. I try to have long conversations that are fun and keep them engaged. And it also depends because, and this is the other thing that, like, I would love to take more advice from podcasts, but a lot of the time other podcasters are talking to famous people and people that have successful careers or are entertainers or just they're wealthy celebrities and stuff. And so you have a person that's already immediately super interesting and they have interesting things to say like really interesting things to say. And there's things that you want to hear about. With a RuneScape podcast, I'm talking to a person that nobody, like occasionally nobody asks for them. Like this is not meant to come off as disrespectful at all, but I'm talking to somebody that nobody's ever heard of before. And I've never heard of them sometimes. And it's just like, okay, we're talking about RuneScape now, which there is that element where people know it's a RuneScape thing, but I don't know if they're going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to be able to carry on a conversation nicely. So sometimes in a conversation, I'm not going to be like 20 minutes through and be like, hey man, this isn't working out. Just this is over. Like it's done. We're done recording. I'm not uploading this. Like I'm going to carry out every fucking conversation to the best of my ability. So if I can tell the guest is not interesting or isn't providing enough for me to talk about, I kind of just have to push through. And, you know, so that's kind of a skill I have to just like, okay. And sometimes I can tell like we're both kind of lacking the energy or the flow or that kind of connection. And I want to give the audience as much time to talk as they want, but sometimes that energy, like sometimes I choose to talk more just to kind of provide more energy, because when there's both of us being interactive with each other and both of us are having our strong points to talk about, that kind of introduces more passion into the conversation and more energy. And so even though I'd love the guests to really dominate the conversation, talk 70% and I talk 30%, sometimes I end up talking more just because I feel like I need to provide more energy into the conversation. So, but yeah, I'm totally with you where the butting in and the interrupting and the trying to make it all about yourself is really fucking annoying. I do that sometimes. It's kind of hard to just consciously be aware of how you're sounding, because sometimes you'll just talk and you're like, damn, I sounded like a pretentious fucking douchebag right there. Like, why am I talking about myself that way? Or like, why did I even need to bring that up? But when I've talked for 550 fucking hours on cast, like there's just going to be really cringe moments and really things I regret saying and topics I wish I hadn't touched on and other things. And it's like, I just have to, I'm pretty neurotic. So like when I'm done with the conversation, I'm like replaying it in my mind. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like that was embarrassing. I shouldn't have said that. I need to not do that again. And like, I'm going through my head on these things. And so I'm constantly trying to improve and trying to get a good balance. And yeah, so secondly, do you consider playing other games every now and then? I heard you say you played Crash Bandicoot as a child. The remake from 2017 is a great nostalgia trip. I was a big gamer as a kid. I loved games. I loved Call of Duty, Guitar Hero, Minecraft for a brief bit, RuneScape as a young kid. But nowadays I can't really get into games. I had like a little bit of a season with like chess. I love playing like online chess on my phone. Never got like super good, mainly because I just didn't want to practice theory. It just sounds hella boring. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of play RuneScape, and that's kind of the extent of my gaming for the last several years as well. So I don't know. I've kind of been trying to explore more, and I don't even have that big of a desire to like start getting more into games. I just want to like, I want to like follow passions that I'm like naturally interested in. Like if I have to like push myself to be passionate about something like strongly, sometimes I have to do it a little bit, but if I have to like go out of my way to start trying to like something, it just feels like it's not natural, and it's ultimately I should just find something that I'm more naturally prone to enjoying. So yeah, I don't really play many other games. I loved Crash Bandicoot though. I love the PS1. I love those games. OSR's question: what content was the most enjoyable to you on its release day? Probably Fasani's Nightmare. Fasani's Nightmare release day was an amazing day. 18-hour stream, pulled the mace at the very last half hour. Great addition to Nightmare, just so much better than normal Nightmare. IRL question: do you or have you played any sports? Yeah, I played football in middle school, and then I played lacrosse in high school, and I used to play a lot of pickup basketball in college, and even just kind of growing up, just with friends, I'd go to my church and we'd play basketball all the time. We'd play like football and stuff outside. But yeah, high school sports, like junior and senior year, like got into lacrosse, and that was really fun. And I love pickleball. So summers, I play pickleball now. There's a pickleball court several miles away from my house. I bike over there and play. So love that. That's more of like that's more of like a, kind of like a hobby. That's just, it's easy. It's fun. It's easy to get into and it's hard to master. But it's just fun because you get to meet people. It's more of a social thing to go out and have fun with strangers out on the courts. And there's like a little desire of mine to get into like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or some sort of like not combat, but just like, just being able to defend myself, like some sort of sport where I'm developing skills that have like real value in the real world. Like in a dangerous scenario, I could feel like I could protect myself. Like that sounds like something nice. But then I fell down the rabbit hole. YouTube started recommending me videos of BJJ injuries and stuff, and like people that like some regret their experiences in BJJ and other martial arts and stuff, and just the injuries that come with it over years of doing it. And just for me, like I don't see doctors often. Like I luckily I am very blessed to be a healthy individual that doesn't have any chronic diseases or illnesses or injuries or anything like that. And if I were to get in, like if I were to go to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym like tomorrow and start getting into it, and I got fucking injured, or I like severely strained my wrist to the point where I can't use my wrist for the next fucking 3 months, I probably wouldn't even go see a doctor. Like, I'm that kind of guy that's like, no, it's not even worth the money. I'm just going to fucking sit through this. And something seriously could go wrong. Or, you know, somebody could like give me a fucking concussion, or I could sprain my ankle horribly, or really tweak my knee in a really bad way. And I'm kind of just out of luck. I'm like, okay, like I need to go see a doctor. Now I can't do my calisthenics at home because I got to watch this fucking knee. You know, I got to go see a doctor repeatedly. I got to go get some medicine. It's like just things that I didn't really consider. You know, I feel like I've been young my whole life. And so I just think I'm immortal and I'm not going to ever get hurt and I'm never going to die. And then when those videos started spawning in my YouTube feed, I took them seriously. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a good fucking point. Like if I were to try to get into these sort of like self-defense sports and stuff, like I'm gonna hurt myself inevitably, and I don't know if I'm willing to, like I don't know if I want that. You know, it's kind of like like it's such a valuable thing to learn, and it'll give you a lot of confidence, and it'll make you feel stronger, and just yeah, there's so many good things to it, but the bad things I worry about. Like I don't know. So anyway. Thoughts on OSRs as a future buyable offline game. That would be cool, but they would literally need to just like go in and touch every single drop rate, or you would need to be able to select like easy mode, hard mode, or nobody's going to fucking select hard mode on an offline game, but they would just need to make, like if you could literally play RuneScape as an Iron Man offline and, you know, have drop rates super reasonable across the board. So no item takes more than like 10 fucking hours basically. And there's no ping. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. There's no lag to deal with ever. You can really just have perfect prayer flicks all the time. And like, that would be amazing. Just everything is just smooth across the board. And XP is actually higher as well. Maybe not quite as, maybe leagues rates even, something like that. Or maybe just 5x just across the board. Something like that. That would be really cool. But you know, nobody wants to play an offline game that takes, you know, thousands and thousands of hours to do it. It just wouldn't hit the same. If you could choose any 3 people to be on the cast, who would they be? Anyone in the world. Oh my God. Let's see. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I should have thought this one through. I'm gonna have to skip this one. I'm sorry, but you know, it's just too many people. I'm going to say 3 names, then it's not going to be the 3 I'd actually choose. So I didn't think this one through. Have you tried the Monster Ultra Sunrise? Isn't that the orange one? The zero, like orange one? Yeah, I that one's really good, actually. I'm kind of odd about orange flavored things. I don't really tend to like orange flavored things, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed it more and more. Orange flavored candy I hate. I do not like orange flavored candy. But orange juice, high pulp, I'm a huge fan of. I love orange juice. And orange citrusy drinks, I've really come to love a lot more. So they're never like my absolute go-to, but I can really enjoy them now. So I agree. Yeah, that one's a really good one. How was the date? I already touched on that in the beginning. What's your favorite fight in the whole game? Already talked on that as well. Probably Zulrah, Sol, or Olm. Do you think the mace grind made your brain stronger or weaker? My brain. I'll just say that grind like was fucking brutal. For those that don't know, I spent over 1,100 hours of my life grinding normal solo Nightmare, one tick flicking, and using Phoenix fucking necklaces. So I'm camped at low HP, and the amount of times I died and the amount of wipes and all these other, oh my God, just so many fucking hours spent doing that stuff, and I ended up not even getting the mace from normal Nightmare. Day 1 Fasani is when I got it. I would probably say, I don't know, stronger in a way, like the grind set was strong as hell, but weaker in a way where now, like, I don't know. It feels like a grind like that will just build you up. Like I can do anything now. And that's what I used to kind of think, but it's just not worth it. You like look back and you're like, Jesus Christ, I spent so much time there. It's just, I feel like in a way it's made me like disrespect certain just long, egregious grinds because they're just so stupid sometimes. If RS closes down for good, what would you look to do financially? Kind of already covered that, so I'll skip it. Group Hardcore Ironman win. What up, Renegades? Soon. That's all I'm going to say. Soon. And it's still mildly up in the air. So I'm in discussions with some people, some creators, and we're probably going to make a Group Hardcore Ironman probably sometime next month. And I'm pretty excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So again, not absolutely guaranteed, but I have pretty much decided I want to do that because I feel like it will be something really fresh and fun. And as a content creator, it would be something really good for my channel on YouTube and on Twitch. Group Hardcore Ironman or Hardcore Win, we want it, we need it. Yeah. I will do it eventually. I do still have my Seder account that is a normal hardcore. But Hardcore Group Ironman just sounds so much more fun. Can you cat Bob for me IRL? I will. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you for all the questions. This was a really fun AMA. I would love to do more of these in the future, every few months or so. So if you guys have any other topics, just kind of write them down. And whenever I have another like community post like this, I'll try to get to them. But cool. We got through every single one of them. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for all the questions and stuff. Hopefully this was nice. Let me know if you guys liked it. Drop a like if you did. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys want to support me as a creator, it means a lot and it really does help me keep feeling motivated to create content. So if you guys want to support, down in the description, there's a There is a Spotify link for all these rambles, by the way, but there is a YouTube membership link and a Patreon link. Go check it out if you guys are interested. And thank you. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.